I'm going to tell you what Donald Trump felt at that moment. He's super irritated. He's going to take that as a direct slap.
He didn't look irritated, to be fair to President Trump.
He really deserves all the credit for this, because correcting Donald Trump is not something that anyone does.
I don't think that the king meant it in that way.
I'm going to tell you what Donald Trump felt at that moment. He's super irritated.
By the king saying that?
Yeah.
Today, as tyranny once again threatens Europe, we and our allies stand together in support of Ukraine to deter aggression and secure peace. Our countries are working together in support of crucial diplomatic efforts.
He's going to take that as a direct slap.
He didn't look irritated, to be fair to President Trump. He did look suddenly up at the king, but He didn't look irritated.
Well, I'm going to tell you what was going on behind that those eyes. Yeah, I mean, to be told like that, to be talked down like that, to essentially be corrected like that. I mean, he knows he has a problem here. He can't end the war in Ukraine. This is a big issue with him, and if he can't end that war as he promised, then his alternative is that issue has to go away. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Did anyone think the king was talking down to the president tonight? That was not the impression I got.
The king is incredibly skilled at having these conversations, and he will know what is going to happen tomorrow.
It was a very pointed rebuke.
It was
There is no other way to look at that than the king saying, and I think it was audacious on the king's part, and it may threaten the balance of what the Brits are trying to achieve here, the good feeling. But it was a necessary. I'm amazed that the king did this, and full of. Believe me, he really deserves all the credit for this, because correcting Donald Trump is not something that anyone does.
I don't think that the king meant it in that way, and he will have.
What do you mean he didn't mean it in that way? It is.
Let Penny Mordaunt finish.
But understand this. It is. I mean,
Michael, there's
the
one
Ukraine.
person on this sofa who knows King Charles's mind, and that's Penny Mordaunt.
There's one person who knows Donald Trump's mind on this sofa and on this panel.
Well, you can say what Donald Trump's reaction would have been, but I know the king will have spent a lot of time with the president today, and they will have talked about a whole raft of things, and he's incredibly skilled at broaching these issues and encouraging people and trying to set up the best outcomes for tomorrow.
Okay,
let me very briefly say,
Elizabeth,
let me very briefly say why there are people in the British government and the British system who have fears about Donald Trump veering in the direction of Russia, which is they fear that he accepts the fundamental Russian narrative, which is he often says that Ukraine is to blame for where we are because they wanted to join NATO, and the fear is that is fundamentally accepting what Vladimir Putin calls the causes of the war.
Elizabeth Pipko.
Sure. I mean, I disagree with that. I've spent a lot more time with President Trump than a lot of people on this panel, actually. I think Donald Trump actually blames Joe Biden and his administration for the war, and there's a reason that a lot of people believe that if President Trump was in the Oval Office, the war would not have broken out to begin with. I think in reality, based on what we're just talking about, I do not think the king was saying anything to talk down to Donald Trump. I don't think Donald Trump thought about it that way. I don't think he was impacted, and I thought the king actually spoke very respectfully, and I'm sure they're going to have even more conversations, very respectful ones, on the back end of this. I think there's a narrative that's being pushed here, the one that's been pushed for many years now, about Donald Trump. It's incredibly disingenuous. I think it's inappropriate. I don't think it's necessary right now at a time when we're all hoping, even those who don't like Donald Trump, I believe, that he can work with Europe and bring an end to the war.
What's the particular narrative you think is being pushed here? This is the narrative that he's a Putin lover. That's the one you have an issue with.
That might be the one you were pushing. I was saying that you wanted to make the world believe that Donald Trump was angry at what the king said today when he did not flinch.
Okay, I'm just going to.
All I can say is, if this was a Hollywood movie, it would be a sequel to Love Actually, but flipped around the other way. I mean, you know, it's astonishing that all of this is playing out on camera in a way that we can see and framed in this way.
Okay. Again, I do recall Elizabeth Pipko, Donald Trump, saying, "You don't start a war, you can't win." That was directed at Volodymyr Zelensky. Here is an extract of what President Trump had to say this evening.
Together we've done more good for humanity than any two countries in all of history. Together we must defend the exceptional heritage that makes us who we are, and we must continue to stand for the values and the people of the English-speaking world, and we do indeed stand for that. On behalf of all Americans, I offer a toast to one of the great friendships, to two great countries, and to His Majesty, King Charles III.